Breaking news. Okay. Barry, we need sound effects for this. We're going to do our segment on shuffling. And as we said, last time we did one on, oh, my cards got all messed up here. Hold on a second. We did one on choosing a card, pulling a card. And we were like, we need to do shuffling. And right out of the gate, I want to say a couple of things. One is that I've been doing this for 30 years and I still don't shuffle good. So if you're out there and you're like, well, I've never been great at shuffling cards, stuff like, don't worry about it. It's just randomizing the cards. And depending on how you choose, remember some of the techniques, like when I showed the deck and I said that I go up and down the deck as it's sitting on the table. I don't have a down view camera right now, but I just choose where to stop, pull off. There's the heart of the matter card. I put the other part of the deck on the top and I start pulling from the top. And that's how I choose a card. And so even if it's just relatively randomized, Mary, because you're cutting, you're going to get a randomization no matter what. Now, as far as shuffling, you don't have to be a Vegas card shark shuffler, folks, rifling the deck and, doing the fancy fan stuff and everything. But if you want to, and you want to learn, there's a lot of great videos on YouTube on how to do that if you want to do that. But we're going to talk about 4 or 5 different ways to easily shuffle. What do you want to say, Mary?
I want to demonstrate my amazing shuffling skills.
Ooh, she's been practicing all morning too.
Right. This is the only deck. Here, let me find the box. This is the only deck that I can do this with. It's the prophetic tarot of the Bible. And it comes from Rina Sciamento, Italian style arts. You can find them on Etsy and online and stuff. But
is it because of the size or?
Yeah, it's the size of the cards. This is skinny compared to a regular size tarot deck. You can see how these aren't as wide. So that's a big help. And I have small hands. A lot of people with small hands, we always complain about cards shuffling.
Yeah, this came up on the last show. We were talking about that.
I have little hands.
Why are they so big? And I'm actually glad they're big though, because I like the visual aspect of tarot.
I do too, but I don't like it for shuffling. But anyways, this is the only deck, and I'm going to do it in the air that I can actually do the bridge shuffle with.
The bridge shuffle, and I can't do that. I have tried with all different size decks and everything. I just cannot get it.
It's the only deck I can do it with. And it's because it's the perfect size.
As far as rifling goes, I just cut the deck in half and rifle them together, which I'm dropping my cards. Look at that. And this is the thing is, do you use reversals or not? And the reason I bring that up is because if you don't use reversals, like I don't use reversals, I want to keep the cards all upright. So when I take the deck, I cut it in half like this, and I am putting them end to end. So they're the same size up and down, the same direction up and down. So when I rifle them together, they're going to stay upright. Now, when I'm rifling them together, I'm not doing kind of like the bridge method that you did, the flat end to flat end. I'm doing corner to corner. And I find that it saves on wear and tear on the deck and the bending of the cards and everything. You don't have to quite bend it as much to get that. Now, what's nice about the bridge shuffle that you just did is when you go back the other direction, you're kind of like bending it to rifle and then going back the other way. And so that kind of evens it out, but I just go corner to corner like this. Yep. Typically I will shuffle ahead of time. Now this is something, Mary, you and I were talking about this earlier. And I said how that you can do a lot of your shuffling before you're meeting with the client. Of course, if you're doing a reading for yourself, it doesn't matter, but I'm talking about doing readings for people because that's primarily what I do. Now, the question always comes up, do you let the client shuffle your deck? Now, Mary's shaking her head no. For those out in radio land, yes, you can't see us do air quotes or shake our head if you're listening, but you can on the YouTube channel. So this comes up a lot, and there's a lot of readers that are, diehard about this, that you got to let the client get their energy into the card, so they have to shuffle and all. No. In fact, there's very practical reasons why not to have the client shuffle your deck. First of all, just like we're talking right now, and I brought up before, not all of us are card sharks and, Vegas shufflers here, folks, and I'm not. I've been doing this for 30 years and I can't do it. So you don't want people handling your cards. I will cut the deck. Like most of the time I'm doing readings virtually anyway, we're on a Zoom meeting, but if I'm in person with them, I might let them cut the deck and then choose a pile, that's fine, but first of all, have they washed their hands? Have you washed your hands? That's one question I always have about, the people that are like, oh yeah, I have to have them shuffle my, do you really want them getting all their oils on your deck? And I'd be making them run to the bathroom and wash their hands before they touch my cards. Yeah, I don't let them touch the cards. I do all the shuffling. In fact, I do it ahead of time. And I typically, because I'm a numerologist, I do 9. So I do 9 rifles, 9 cuts, and 9 overhands. So that's another way to shuffle, is the sideways overhand, just, pulling up some cards and dropping them down, Now, as it came up on our previous show, if the deck is super huge and you have really tiny hands, instead of sideways, you can do it up and down vertically like that. And you can pull the cards and drop them down just like you do with the sideways, the more common one. And then cutting the deck into multiple piles and then just choosing a pile and pulling them all back together. That randomizes the deck too, as well. So there's a lot of great ways, and then the ultimate, I think the best way to shuffle, and I really don't do it, to be honest with you, because I'm usually using, like, I'm on a tiny desk here and I don't have the room for it, but if I was at a nice table in a coffee house or my kitchen table or something like that, and you're doing a reading for somebody, first of all, you're going to put the spread cloth down. And for those in radio land, I'm showing one of my spread cloths. Yep. And this is to keep the cards clean, like we were just talking about. And what you're going to do is you're just going to put the deck down on the spread cloth and whoosh, you're just going to push the cards out all over the spread cloth, mix them all up, and then pull them back together, forming it back into your deck. Now, you're going to get some reversals on that. So what do you do if you don't do reversals? You pull a card, it's upside down, just flip it around, folks. It's not, rocket science here. Don't worry about getting reversals. You will get reversals with the chaos method, but it does randomize the deck really easily. The other great thing about it is it's perfect for these larger tarot decks, these really big decks, where you can just push the cards all around and bring them together. And then maybe you do some cutting or something like that. And then you don't have to worry about, well, I can't even hold the deck to do a sideways shuffle. I can't hold the deck to rifle it. Use the chaos method, or at least that's what I call it. I call it the chaos method. Anything else you want to throw in, Mary, on this topic?
Sure. I shuffle all of my decks. That's another topic that we should talk about sometime, is what do you do when you get a brand new tarot deck? how do you make it your own? But
Yes.
the thing that's interesting, because there are 78 cards in the deck, they split evenly into piles of six piles, right? So what I do is when I first get a deck, I might, do the thing everybody talks about, knocking on it to knock off the energy of manufacturing and printing. That is a thing. But what I'll do is I'll take the deck and then I will just, shuffle it a little bit. I'll cut it a few times and shuffle it, and I'll divide it into 6 different piles. I'll lay out 6 cards and then shuffle the remaining cards in my hand and lay out another 6. So I have 6 piles, and then I take those 2 piles that are across from each other, like 3 piles at the top, 3 piles at the bottom, and I smush those together, shuffle those together, and then take half of those and shuffle half with the, it's a big, it was going to be a real simple explanation, but it sounds more complicated than it is. But it's just something about the deck dividing equally into 6 piles. It's like I started doing that like from the very beginning. So all of my decks are already pre-shuffled, right, to begin with.
Yeah.
And then I just shuffle the way I shuffle. And I think any way that you shuffle is fine. The whole point is it's gotta be comfortable. It's gotta be something you don't think about anymore. When you go to do a reading for someone, you have your deck, you do it how you do it. Like for me, I riffle shuffle, like that usually. And I'll do that 3 times or maybe more. It just really depends. I go by the energy, and everything is based on the question being asked. So that's my approach.
Awesome. Yes. And so if you have any other questions about this, you can either ask us right now in the comments, call in and ask, or hey, just, shoot us a message on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, or on Facebook or somewhere, and say, hey, I got a question about it. And then we'll answer it on the show.